and welcome to a stronger, possibly, flow with lots of options. So don't worry, you don't have to run away or press stop right now. I'm going to give you a lot of different options as we go, and as a teacher I've got this bowl of fruit. You can pick and choose whatever fruit you want to take, and or none at all, and stay in child's pose if you choose. However, I recommend and I challenge you to challenge yourself and get through the flow. Let's see how we go. Now, in terms of aids, I've got a block, and that just makes sitting a little bit easier. However, you can do without a block if you have a regular yoga practice and can at least touch your toes. If that's a challenge for you, please grab 2 blocks. Otherwise, otherwise you can do it then. Let's start off in child's pose. So I'll remove my block. Take your knees nice and wide to edges of the mat. Bring the big toes together, tops of the feet down, and as you stretch forward, draw the chest down between the thighs. Now I'm going to invite you to make it a little bit more restorative by having the elbows or forearms down as you stretch the arms forward. And just pause here, just allowing ourselves to become more present, bring us to the right now. And as you take breaths in and out, can you feel the belly pushing against the thighs with the expansion, taking the breath in? And with the out breath, can you maybe draw the hips closer back towards the heels, so you've got a little bit more compression in the hip flexors? And just keep doing that. Hopefully at some point, maybe, the glutes will eventually touch the heels. So let's not stay here forever, but maybe another 3 breaths. And slowly taking the elbows and forearms off the floor, let's come to the pads of the fingers. So finding a really deep stretch in the shoulders, pushing them down, lengthening through the arms, reaching to the front of the mat. And then taking the hands, walking slowly over to the right hand side, maybe even interlacing the left hand on top of the right. Let's draw the left shoulder down as we do. Take a breath in and a breath out. And release the interlace. Walk the hands back through center. Let's move over to the left hand side. Make sure there's no bottles or aids in the way. This is always a little bit of a thing in class, bottles falling over as we move from one side to another. So here, just try and release that right shoulder down as you take a breath in and release. And slowly moving back through center, coming to a tabletop. Now I'll invite you to keep your knees where they are and push through the mat with all the fingers spread, lifting through, keeping the tops of the feet down, and then draw the knees in so they touch. Pause here. Can you maybe even tuck through the chin, pushing the spine up to the ceiling? Take the knees wide, touch the edges of the mat, maybe move the hips back, and then come back, tabletop, hovering the knees. Slowly taking one and then the other, tucking the toes, and then walking the feet back to find a plank. Pausing in your plank, just for 3 breaths. Just earning some heat here. If you'd like to bring the knees down, please do. Staying just for another 1. And slowly drawing the knees back down. Now I'm going to turn to you so you've got a face view or front view, but keep alongside your mat. Fingers are still spread. Make sure that the index fingers are parallel, and then just start to create a circle, moving in one direction and moving in the other direction. And this is just to warm up the wrists a little bit. And come back to center, turn the hands around, fingers are pointing back towards the knees. Just remember that the wrists are one of, I'd say, arguably the most important parts of the body as we get into poses like downward dog and other arm balances, which I will invite for you to practice or come into with me if you choose. Just remember that bowl of fruit. Turn the hands once again to face the front. Keep the toes tucked and just walk the hands back towards the knees. Sit on the heels and just shake out the hands. I've got a quote for you, and that is, karma is like position 69. You have to give as much as you take. Bring the palms to meet, interlace the fingers, and as you take a little giggle at the joke, just move the hands around, just warming up the wrists once again. And change the figure eight direction. Give it a last shake and come back to tabletop. Now we're going to lift the right knee out to the side. Pause here. Can you lift it even a little bit higher? Just imagine your dog marking its territory, and then just create little figure eights, moving the knee around in one direction. Maybe just 3 circles, and then change, go the other way. Kick it back to the back, flex the toes so they're pointing down to the floor, and then see if you can create a half circle all the way around, keeping as straight as you can for as long as you can until you place it onto the outside of the right hand. Now just move the hips back and forwards, maybe even a slight bend of the elbows, bringing the chest further down to the mat. Pausing. And as you push back through the mat, take your right hand, reach it forward. Imagine you're shaking my hand at the front of the room, and then take it into a circle all the way, reaching back and backwards, forwards. Bring it down to the inside of that right foot, and then push the hips back, maybe even raising the toes of the right leg into half Hanuman. This is where you might need an aid or a block. So if it is you, a block can be really handy. Maybe 1, maybe 2, just to keep the chest raised slightly. But if it's not you and you can stretch towards the floor, I encourage that. Now it's right at the beginning of the practice, so don't feel like you need to straighten through that right knee. Bring the foot down, bend through the knee once again, and then kickstand that left leg so it's coming in. Maybe even bring the top of the foot down so the shin is down. Windmill the arms through and up, taking the left hand down to the back of the mat, the right hand reaching for the ceiling or towards the back of the mat. Pause here, excuse my back. Bring the hips a little bit forward if you can. And then start to windmill the hands all the way back to the front. Unkickstand that left foot, and then kick that right foot to the back, bringing it back to a tabletop. Just move the hips from side to side, just relieving any tension built. Before we move on to the other side, I might stay this side so that I'm facing you when we turn. Let's take the left knee out to the side, pause, and then create those circles moving around in one direction and the other. Eventually kicking it out to the back of the room, flex the toes, pointing down. And then slowly create that half circle, moving it around all the way to the top of the mat. Place it down the outside of the left foot, and then moving the hips back and forwards, maybe even bending through the elbows, so you got a little bit more depth through that flexor, stretching the hamstring. Eventually pushing through the hands, straighten through the arms. Take your left hand, reach it forward, shake my hand, and then take it around in a circle all the way through the back and turn to face it as you can. And bring that left hand down to the inside of the left foot and then move the hips back, lifting the left foot. Now remember, you don't have to straighten the leg. We're just pausing here just for 2 breaths. Pausing for 1. And then as you brace the foot down, bend through that left knee, kickstand that right knee. Bring the top of the foot down and then windmill the hands all the way around. The right hand comes down, the left hand reaches for the ceiling. Stay for 2. 1, we're going to windmill the hands all the way back to the front of the room. Unkickstand that right knee and then place the left foot back, tabletop. Slowly lift the knees off the floor so they're hovering, and then just walk the feet back to a plank. Pausing here, we're going to lower to the count of 3. So if push-ups are not your favorite, work with us here. Otherwise, just drop the knees and you can follow through that way. So staying here for 3.
Starting to bend through the elbows. Keep them tucked all the way in. 2, 1.5, and a quarter, and all the way down to the floor. Bring the tops of the feet down, baby cobra, just peel the chest up, take a breath in, and release as you exhale. Let's try that again, but this time with no hands. So baby cobra, peeling the chest up, and gently releasing. Bring the, tuck the toes, push up to tabletop, and lift the hips. Downward dog. It is our first downward dog, so feel free to pedal the feet, moving from side to side. Eventually, with the feet about hip width apart, the hands out in front towards the top of the mat, make sure you're pushing into even the first knuckle. So we often forget to push the first knuckle into the ground, and we push through the outer parts of the hand. Come to stillness, pause, take a deep breath in, fill the lungs, open your mouth, let it out. Take your right leg up to the ceiling. We're going to bend through that knee and open the hip, and once again create circles moving in one direction. So we're going to copy the same sequence that we did on the floor, change direction, go the other way, from a little bit of an elevated place. Take that foot all the way through, step it this time onto the inside of the right thumb. Drop the knee if you need to, otherwise take that right hand, reach it forward, create that circle moving all the way back to the back of the room. Come place it down and then slowly push the hips back, straightening through that right knee. Invitation to lift the toes for a little bit more. Staying for 2, for 1. Foot comes down, bend through that right knee, and then drop the left heel. Windmill the arms all the way through, reversing the posture. The warrior. Pause here for 2. Pause for 1. Windmill the hands all the way back down, coming onto the toes of the back foot. We're going to sweep that right foot all the way back up to the ceiling and then bend through the knee and open the hip. Option to stay here, or you can flip the dog, as they say, placing the right foot on the outside of that left foot. Take rock star, keeping the chest facing the wall, reaching that right hand forwards, or wild thing, if you feel comfortable, taking the chest up to the ceiling. Stay for 2, for 1. Slowly come back to rock star if not already. Chest faces the side and wall, and then lift or become lighter on that right foot. Take a breath in, and with your exhale, can you bring the top knee to top elbow to touch? Inhale, open up, and as you exhale, flip over, bend through the elbows, come chaturanga, halfway down. Knees are always an option. Flip the feet, find your upward dog or your back bend. Downward dog as you exhale. Allow the left foot to rise. Start to open up the knee, the hip, and bend through the knee. Pausing here, and then starting to create those circles, moving in one direction. And the other. And create that circle, half circle, moving all the way in. Place it on the inside of the hands. Take your left hand, reach it forward. Sweep it all the way around in a circle. As it comes down back to the front of the mat, sweep the hips back, finding your pyramid, maybe even lifting through the left toes. Pause for 2. Pause for 1. Foot comes down, bend through the knee, the heel of the back foot comes down, and when you're on the blade of the foot, sweep the arms up and around, reversing the posture. Make sure you keep the bend in the left knee. Stay for 2. For 1, sweeping the hands back up to the front, come onto the back toes, sweeping that left foot all the way back, 3-legged, bend through the knee. Slowly, you can option to stay here, or place the footing down, opening up to rock star, or wild thing. Staying just for 2. 1, becoming lighter on that left foot, take a breath in, and as you exhale, can you bring top elbow to top knee, touch. Inhale, open, and as you exhale, flipping over, coming chaturanga, coming bending halfway down. Flip the feet, find your back bend, downward dog, exhale. Now, I'm going to give you the option for 5 breaths to stay as you are. Feel stable, feel strong. Bring your knees down, find child's pose as an option. Or if you want more, bring your forearms down, maybe even walk the feet in to find dolphin. So wherever you are, we're here for another 4 breaths. Another 3. Don't copy me. Choose whatever posture you've chosen, stay there. Staying for 2. And 1. Slowly meeting us back into our downward dog. Now, just pedal the feet just for a breath. Getting used to this posture once again before lifting the right foot up to the ceiling. Now we're going to move with the breath, so take a breath in here. Exhale, can you bend through the knee and open the hip? Inhale, square the hip, straighten the leg, and as you exhale, take that knee to the right elbow. Touch, maybe even a slight bend of the elbows. Straighten the arm, inhale, take the right foot all the way back, and as you exhale, take it to the left elbow. Touch, bend through the elbows, maybe. Push back up, inhale, take it back up, and as you exhale, step it through next to the right thumb. Inhale as you reach that right arm forward, sweep it around in a circle, and as you exhale, hand comes down, straighten out the right leg to pyramid. Bend through the knee, inhale, drop the left heel down and sweep the arms all the way back, reverse. This time as you exhale, can you take your right elbow to right knee, find your side angle, or make it extended by maybe turning the top palm, reaching for the front of the room, making that right arm a little bit lighter. Option to release the right arm down, maybe off the ankle, right elbow off the right knee. Staying here for 2. Option to take that left hand behind in a half bind. Maybe you want to play with full, but we're only here for another breath. Release the bind if you have it, only half though. Take your right hand and reach up to the ceiling as you straighten through the right leg, reverse triangle. And then as you exhale, push the hips back, reach forward and find your triangle pose with one hand. Open out that left shoulder, pause for 2, pause for 1. Take that left shoulder down and sweep yourself around so that your right hand is grabbing the left ankle. Choose the left ankle, left foot, or even just the ground. Just pause here for 2. Pause for 1. Release the bind. We're going to turn all the way to the back, so framing that left foot. Place the right hand down, left hand reaches to the ceiling, touch, twist, breath in. Cleopatra, come to the blades of the feet, reach back as you exhale. Sweep that left hand back to the front, inhale, and step up to the top of the mat, forward fold, release. Bend through the knees, reach the arms up to the ceiling as you straighten the body, maybe a slight back bend, palms meet, heart center as you exhale. Inhale, take the hands up. Find a forward fold as you exhale. Halfway lift in. Hands come down, stepping both feet back to downward dog. Maybe a little bit of a flow. Bring your shoulders forward, find plank. Come halfway down, chaturanga. Flip the feet. Downward dog as you exhale. Allow the left leg to reach up to the ceiling, breath in. Bend through the knee and open the hip. Inhale, square the hips, straighten the leg. And as you exhale, journey that knee to the left elbow touch. Bend through the elbows. Push, inhale, take that left foot back up to the ceiling. Exhale, take it to the right elbow. Touch, bend, straighten, inhale. And as you exhale, step it forward, top of the mat. Left hand reaches forward and all the way around as you inhale. And as you exhale, straighten through the left leg, pyramid. Bend through the knee, drop the right heel down. Windmill the arms all the way around, reverse, inhale. And as you exhale, side angle, left elbow, left knee. Right hand either extended or drop, and maybe find a half bind. Options galore. Remember, you bowl of fruit, choosing your option. Stay with the right hand behind. Reach that left arm around and back, reverse with a straight leg. And as you exhale, taking your hand down, turning to the side and grabbing your right ankle with your left hand. Pause here for 2. Pause for 1. Slowly releasing the bind, bring the hands down, framing that right foot. Left hand stays there. Take an inhale as you take the right hand up to the ceiling. Cleopatra, reach for the back. Inhale, take the right hand back up to the front. Step forward, forward fold, top of the mat. Find a halfway lift breath in. Hands come down, downward dog, breath out. Float the shoulders forward with a breath in. Chaturanga, halfway down. Push back up to plank with the breath in. I'm sure I caught some of you there. And come halfway down, breath out. Flip the feet, upward dog. And then just bring the knees wide as you push the hips back. Child's pose. And this is only a 20-minute practice. So hopefully that warmed the body up. Always an option to find a further flow if you choose, but let's slowly bring ourselves up, finding a seat to close off the practice. I'm going to choose to use my block to sit on so that my hips are a little bit higher than my knees. Invitation to shut down the eyes and stay with me as we close. Bring the palms to meet and draw them into the heart center. With our hearts, we feel words of love. Take the hands up to the mouth. With our lips, we speak words of peace. Lastly, take the hands up to the forehead, making contact with the third eye, and maybe even a slight bow and reverence to your practice. With our minds, we think words of gratefulness. And that now completes the practice. Thank you very much for practicing with me today. Hopefully we see you soon. Namaste.